here it is, folks. This is the YouTube debut of Project 36. So the guy I'm working on this project with asked me to record the turns of, the game that I'm playing by my solo game. So I'm going to record the game. I'm going to show you guys. So he wanted to see the gameplay. He didn't just want to see how the game turned out, but the actual gameplay, the development of the game. So this is a chance for anyone else who's interested in it to see the gameplay, round by round, what's going on. So yeah, this is Project 36. If you're in the WhatsApp group that I'm part of, then you saw an invitation to kind of help out on this project. There were a few nibbles, but no one really wanted to actually start helping with the rules or anything yet, except for one guy, and I don't know if he wants me to say his name on YouTube, but he's been a big help, and we've been developing like a lot of things that I thought were concrete. Definitely not. We've changed a lot since he started helping me, and I appreciate it a lot. But we're playing with the most modern version of the rules, which is 3.2. And we'll start here with nationalist Spain. So Spanish Civil War is going on. The year is 1936, so that's the name Project 36. And nationalist Spain, what they did is they had mixed results on their turn, I suppose. So what they did is they took Madrid with everything that could go in there. So they brought everything from Badajoz, Zaragoza, and Barcelona into Madrid, as well as they start with a tank in Seville. That also went up there. And they took it, and I think that all they had left was an artillery and a tank when they took it. Or an infantry and artillery and a tank, something like that. And so they took it, and they also took Cordoba. So they got all of the Republican Spanish money from taking their capital. That self-explanatory. They got another $3 for the territory, $4 there. So their economy, it ramped a lot instantly. And they also sunk the French Republican cruiser. They had a light cruiser here. There's light cruisers and heavy cruisers. They had a light cruiser here, but they didn't sink that light cruiser before the nationalist fighter from Tangier flew over that territory and got shot down. So the way ships work in this version is ships have anti-air gun values, which means if planes fly over a sea zone with surface warships, those surface warships get a chance to shoot down the plane before they can move to the next territory. That's what happened. The nationalist fighter flew over here. I made a mistake tactically. It should have flown over Sea Zone 27 instead. I didn't think about it. But it flew over Sea Zone 28 instead, got shot down, which was really unfortunate. Now the nationalists don't have a plane. Fortunately for them, the Republicans don't have a plane either, because it was in the battle for Madrid when they took it, so it got destroyed on turn 1. So then the Republicans took their turn and retaliated, and what they did is they took Madrid back. So they didn't get the money back because they didn't take the capital of nationalist Spain. They just took their capital back. So they did get to collect money, and they collected a reasonable amount. But the nationalists, they took the 8 that the Republicans start with, plus they collected something like 10. I think they collected 10 IPCs. So they're about 18, whereas the Republicans now have a max of 8. So, yeah, the Republicans look like they have a few units here. They could hold on to Madrid for a turn or two, but the nationalists are going to be able to outproduce them and take it back. Now, the good thing is the nationalists can only produce 2 units in this factory in Seville, and they can only produce 1 infantry here in Barcelona because of this victory city here, or this city can produce 1 infantry, factory produces 2. So, nationalist Spain has to use $18, but they can only produce 3 units. So, we're going to see what they can do. I say nationalist Spain is going to win the Spanish Civil War. But I don't know. The dice could be very dirty to them. We're going to see how that goes in the future. So after the Spains, we have Germany. Germany went next, and they declared war on the Dutch, and they declared war on France. And so Germany, in this playthrough, they're going for a bomb rush of Paris, and then they're going to go for Operation Sea Lion. They haven't started building ships yet. They're focusing on getting mobile units and planes so they can take out all of European France, so every single French territory here. And then they're going to start building ships and preparing to take London. And that will basically assure that they have a victory. Again, they have to get to a certain amount of points before turn 15, because turn 15 the game ends. That represents America showing up after Pearl Harbor. Turn 15 is 1943, so that's when the game is declared over. America showed up. The Axis will begin to fall. So the Allies win on turn 15. So even if Germany does take Britain, they still have to get the amount of victory points they need by turn 15. So Germany decided to do a just bomb rush of Belgium and of Nancy. So on their turn, this infantry and artillery weren't there, but these things were there. And Belgium had an infantry artillery fighter, I think. So they sent this infantry, this light tank, and 2 fighters into Belgium. The 2 fighters, German fighters, actually got shot down by the Belgian fighter before they could even retaliate. I mean, they attacked the fighter because there's a dogfight that happens before general combat. So the dogfight happened. The Belgian fighter came out on top, blew up the 2 German fighters, and then the Germans still ended up taking this territory. I think this is all the units they had, and they still took it with an infantry and a light tank. But then what Germany did is they came and they hit Nancy hard. I mean hard. They brought in this heavy bomber, this dive bomber, and a fighter. So the dive bomber and the bomber were hoping to do bombing raids on the bunkers, missed, and the fighter was there to strafe. So air units don't take place in general combat for every round. They just get a strafe, so they get their chance to hit their units and then they take off. They don't stick around and pick off unit after unit like they can in normal franchise games. So the French fighter scrambled, because you can scramble, land territories as well in this version. The French fighter was on basically patrol. He scrambled to here and got destroyed. All the German planes still missed, so it didn't matter. And then Germany had a light tank and a regular tank left over to attack 2 bunkers and 2 infantry. Germans got no hits. French blew them out of the water. So that's how that went. Very bad for the Germans. And now they're amassing a big army on the front line there in Cologne. They sent everything from the east over, and they're just preparing, like I said, just a bum rush Paris. So then after Germany, Russia goes. Russia did absolutely nothing. They tried to use their diplomacy to align Romania. Failed. So they just decided to send as much as they could, as south as they could. And they're going to either align it, or by the time they have enough stuff on the front line, if it's still not aligned, then they're going to invade it. And they're also building a few infantry up here for the inevitable invasion of Finland. But other than that, they did absolutely nothing. They've stayed rather static. And then Poland goes after them. And Poland didn't do much of anything either. Poland can't really do anything diplomatically because, they can't align anyone because they're not aligned. And they can't declare wars because they're a Republican nation. So they're not allowed to declare war until enough wars have been declared. So declaring war on someone raises tension. Tension's only at 4 right now. That's what this fist is. So Germany generated 2 tension from declaring war on the Dutch and 2 tension from declaring war on France. And then Poland, being a republic, tension has to be at, I believe, 8 for them to be able to declare war on anyone. Unless, of course, they're declared war upon. Then that's self-explanatory. But so they couldn't do anything. They just sent stuff to the German front line since Germany vacated that area. So they're going to be ready to go to war when the time comes. And then after Poland, Great Britain goes. And Great Britain, they built a transport. They sent a fighter to Paris. So that fighter in Paris is basically, they sent it down to replace the French fighter. So now the Germans, if they come in again, the French still have a chance to retaliate with the British fighter. It gets to scramble. So, I mean, the French scramble failed miserably, so they're hoping that the second time will work a little better for them here. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. And then the British also decided to send some land units to Bordeaux. And that is because it does look like the Nationalists are going to win in Spain, so they wanted to prepare now for the defense of France from the south if and when Nationalist Spain joins the Axis. So, sent those down, built a fighter, built a transport. They're going to start ferrying things over to mainland Europe and just trying to bulk France up for the inevitable German onslaught. And then France went after Britain. They just built some infantry in Paris, reinforced Nancy because they know it's coming, built a guy in Marseille, and they decided to build a guy in Algiers. So these cities here, they're the victory points of the game. So these triangles are worth 1, and these squares are worth 2, and that's how you determine the Axis or Comintern victory. But what these cities do on top of that is if a city is void of a factory, it can produce 1 infantry. So this city has a factory, so you can produce whatever you want in it. Obviously not ships, since it's not adjacent to a sea zone. But this one can produce anything including ships, since it is adjacent to the sea zone. This one doesn't have a factory, so you can't build anything there. But since it's a city, you can put 1 infantry. You can buy an infantry and put them here on your place units phase. So cities are kind of fun in that way. And France decided to take advantage of that, and they decided to build the infantry in Algiers. That's probably because they figure Italy or Nationalist Spain, if they turn fascist, they're going to want North Africa here. So they left all their infantry where they were, built another one in Algiers. And then after France went, again, France staying pretty static, just preparing for defense. After them, Italy went. What did Italy do? Well, Albania starts the game aligned with them. So they took a guy from Bologna, shipped him down, took that, and Albania was polite enough to build them a mobile infantry unit. So when you activate a nation or declare war on a nation, that nation gets 5 times their territory values to build units. So if you declared war on a nation, the country would have 5 times their territory's values of units to defend themselves. So if Italy brought this guy into attack, well then Albania could build this. Since 5 times 1, so they get 5 IPCs, this costs 4. They could build that to defend Albania. I mean, they're rolling the same dice, these just move more. But since Albania was pro-Italian, then they get to build that for the Italians. The Italians also got super lucky, because when they rolled their diplomacy, so Russia rolled the diplomacy for Romania, failed. Italy rolled diplomacy for Switzerland, failed to align them, and then they rolled alignment for Yugoslavia and succeeded. So Yugoslavia became pro-Italian. So on Italy's non-combat, they moved the guy up from Zara into Croatia, and Yugoslavia gets 5 IPCs times their territory value, which is $25. So they spent 24 of it on this mobile infantry and a battleship here in 36. So now the Italians just got a free battleship and $5 of income just from aligning Yugoslavia. So this was basically Yugoslavia's entire military is mobilized under their control now. And then they built a submarine in addition to that. So they're now fully geared to take North Africa and to invade France from the south. And even if the Republicans somehow miraculously win, they can freely ship things over and wreak havoc on their coasts. So after Italy, the last player in this is the Dutch. And what did the Dutch do? Not a lot, but a lot at the same time. So the Dutch brought 1 guy from Denmark, took Hamburg. So that is a victory city. So that's 1 down for Germany. Obviously, they made up for it by taking the one in Belgium. So Germany's now static with victory points. But they took $3. So they don't get to collect income because they don't have their capital. But this is $3 that the Germans can't collect on their coming turn on round 2 unless they take it back. And they only have these 3 infantry to take it back. They do have all these mobile units and planes, but those are dead set on France. So this was a really good move for the Dutch. The Germans definitely could take that with 3 infantry and they will obviously attempt to. But really good move there. They left a guy back in Denmark so that if this is ever open again, they could do it again. But they also had an infantry in Holland that was untouched completely. And the Germans had a guy in Dortmund, so the Dutch said, yeah, what the heck. We'll send our guy in there, see if we can kill him. We might be able to take the territory and make a real big nuisance of ourselves. Didn't get to take the territory, but as you can see, both the infantry died, so his death wasn't completely for nothing. And the Dutch couldn't really do anything else because their ships were sunk by the Germans on turn 1, or on their first turn. So that's it. That's round 1 of Project 36. Everyone's static right now in terms of victory conditions. I'll be updating you guys on who's winning, but definitely no one is winning yet, and it is not swung to either side yet. So yeah, be looking forward to seeing the rest of these videos. I might patch them all up in one big video, or I might post them individually. I don't know. Depends on the storage space on my phone. But thank you guys for watching. And this is mainly for, again, the guy who's working on the project with me. So I hope you enjoyed it. Alright, so it's round 2, and you wanted me to record these individually. The guy who's working on the project with me, Project 36 with me, wanted me to record each turn individually. So here we go. National Spain turn. They start with $18. They're spending 17 of it on a light cruiser, an artillery, and an infantry. So they'll be saving $1 for next round. All of this will go to the bank. And what are they going to do? Well, they're actually going to do really nothing this turn. All they can do is move things around. They're definitely going to take Malaga this turn with an infantry from Seville. They're going to march in there. They're going to take that. So they're going to go up here on the chart to 7. Brings Republican Spain down to 7. And what they're going to do with this infantry and artillery in Cordoba is they're going to send it to Valencia. And they're just going to try to take that buck. This artillery defends at 1 extra die, and then the infantry in Valencia. So here we go. I'll roll for this, and we'll see the results of the battle. Alright, so I rolled for it. Rolled for the battle. The Nationalists will take Valencia. They got a hit on the first round, and Republicans missed in retaliation. So now we'll switch them up again. Nationalists will go up to 8, Republicans go down to 6. So I'm not going to be rolling for the battles on camera simply because turns will take far too long if I do it that way. And some battles last a really long time as dozens and dozens of dice are being rolled for bigger battles later in the game. So trying to keep it short for you guys, specifically for the guy who's working on Project 36 with me. Don't want him to spend 3 hours watching this video, although it might end up being that long. I don't know. So then, National Spain, what they're going to do is they're going to send the infantry from Seville up to Cordoba, as well as the artillery, and then they're going to mobilize their units. So they are going to build a light cruiser. Oh, forgive me, I didn't. I want to move these as well. So I want to move both their ships 1 and 2 and 3. Now the light cruiser can actually go 4. And the destroyer, because light cruisers move 3 spaces, destroyers only move 2. So with the naval port here in Seville, destroyer goes 1, 2, 3, and light cruiser gets to move a 4th. And then now they can mobilize their units. So they're going to build a light cruiser. They're in Sea Zone 27, as well as an artillery. That takes up the 2 reduction of Seville, and then the infantry is going to be placed in Barcelona. So then they're going to collect $8, which I'll gather here in a moment. And that's National Spain's turn. Alright, so now we're taking the turn of the Republican Spanish. And they start with $8. $8 there. They're spending it all on 2 artillery. And they have 1 combat, which is simply they're going to take these 2 infantry and they're going to shove them into the infantry in Barcelona. See if they can take that. That's going to be a victory point. Not that it matters at this stage in the game. For Spain, Spain has no victory conditions unless they join a faction. But they're going to see if they can grab that $2, and we'll roll the battle and see what the results are. Alright, so unfortunately for the Republicans, they got horrendous rolling. The first round, all misses. Second round, the infantry, who has 2 dice, got 2 hits against their infantry. Both each have 2 dice, so they got 4 misses. The single infantry there got 2 hits, taking out both of the Republican infantry. So Republican Spain is going to end their turn, placing 2 artillery in Madrid, ending their turn, and they will be collecting 6 IPCs. Alright, so now we're on to Germany's turn. They start the turn with $37 to spend. They're spending all of it. They're buying 2 tanks, not light tanks, regular tanks, a heavy bomber, an infantry, and a mobile infantry. Spending all of that money going to the bank. Alright, so Germany has a handful of interesting moves. They're obviously going to be attacking Nancy with everything that they humanly can. That's not a surprise. But one of the interesting moves, or the interesting move here, they're taking the heavy bomber from Munich, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they're going to try to strategically bomb these artillery in Madrid. Now, this air base will get an anti-air shot. 1 anti-air shot at the bomber. Could shoot it down. Probably won't. But then this bomber gets up to 3 dice as a payload, so he could theoretically, if with perfect rolling, take out all these artillery. Highly unlikely. He probably will only end up getting 1. But we're going to see if he can do that. And then the Germans have a rule to where they can land air units in the Spain, nationalist Spain territory while the Spanish Civil War is going on. So he would be able to land there in Barcelona after this bombing raid. And they also have a special rule to where they can attack Republican Spain with air units without declaring war on them. So this is not a violation. This doesn't, raise tension because they're allowed to do this without declaring war on them. So they're going to bomb there. And then, again, everything that they can send into Nancy, it's going there. So they're bringing in 3 tanks from Cologne, 2 infantry from Cologne, 3 from Stuttgart, and artillery from Stuttgart, mobile infantry from Cologne. And then the dive bomber from Munich, 1, 2, 3 left to remind myself. And the 2 fighters from Cologne, moving 1. So all of them are going to strafe before the land battle begins, and we're also going to send our tankette in there. We're going to leave our infantry here just to defend Belgium, because we want to keep Belgium. It's a victory point and a factory and an airbase. Airbases are very important. And we're also going to send these 3 infantry up to Hamburg to try to take out that stickler infantry there that took our territory. The submarine in Sea Zone 16 will be attacking the heavily damaged battleship in Sea Zone 16, and this submarine is going to go 1-2 and join him there. And I think that will do it for German combat, so I'll roll these battles, and we'll see the results. Alright, so I forgot to mention before I roll these battles, the British fighter gets to scramble to Nancy to try to intercept those German fighters. So there's going to be a dogfight there. We'll roll that all and see how it goes. Alright, so success across the board. We'll start here in Madrid. The German heavy bomber got a hit. 1 hit, destroyed an artillery. I mean, it's a free shot. Better than nothing. Battle of Nancy was actually very interesting. The British fighter scrambled, as you know, got eradicated. And then all of that battle took place in 1 round of combat. All the French stuff was just destroyed. The strafing helped a lot. And all that died here was 2 German infantry versus 2 French bunkers, 3 French infantry, and a French artillery. And then the Germans also destroyed the battleship. Obviously, it couldn't shoot back because they didn't have a destroyer. And the Germans took Hamburg back with the loss of 1 infantry. So for non-combat moves here, we're going to land both fighters from Nancy. They're going to land in Belgium. And the dive bomber from Nancy is going to land there in Cologne. The infantry in Nuremberg is going to move to Berlin. And the heavy bomber in Madrid is going to go to Barcelona. Alright, then we're going to place our units here. So we're going to place a bomber in Berlin there. And we're going to place our 2 tanks in Cologne. And then we're going to place an infantry and a mobile infantry in Belgium. So Germany will end their turn collecting 24 IPCs. They're going to collect an additional 5 from convoys, and that will be Germany's second turn.
Alright, so here we are with Russia's turn around 2. And forgive me if there's a change in my voice. It is the next day. This is day 2 of recording, and it is the wee hours of the morning. It's about 5 o'clock here in northern Idaho at the time, and I am up far earlier than normal. But we're going to resume our playthrough, and like I said, it's Russia's turn now in round 2. So they're starting their turn with 23 bucks. They're spending it all on 5 infantry and 1 regular tank. And for combat, first for diplomacy, they're actually going to declare war on Finland. So immediately Finland is going to get 5 times their IPCs, 5 IPCs times their territory value to place units. So in a previous clip, I said a nation, when you declare war on a nation, they get 5 IPCs times their territories. What I meant to say was when you declare war on a neutral. So declaring war on a playable nation, that does not happen. They don't get to spend money to immediately purchase units. Only neutral nations get to spend money to immediately place units to defend themselves. So Finland will get 4 IPCs, or yeah, $4 from their territories times 5, so they'll get $20 to place units. I'll do that real quick and get back to the turn. Alright, so Finland spent their 20 IPCs. They bought 4 infantry and 2 artillery, distributed them how they saw fit in order to defend their territory. So now Russia is going to move to their combat moves, and they will only have 1. They're going to send the 3 infantry from Leningrad into Vyborg. And we'll roll that and get back to it. Alright, so pretty obviously the Russians won that battle. The Finns got no hits in retaliation, so Russia will go ahead and take that. They'll go up a buck. And actually, I'm going to read the Russian agenda. I don't remember if declaring war on Finland raises attention or if Finland is part of the Russian sphere of influence. I'm going to look real quick. Okay, so I double-checked to make sure, and yes, Russia has a special rule to where declaring war on Finland and Baltic states, for them, does not generate any tension because those two, well, Finland and the Baltic states, they are in the Russian sphere of influence. So that generates no tension, so they don't have to worry about that going up for now. But with their combat done, they're going to move to non-combat, and basically, as I said, they're just going to move everything down south to prepare to either liberate. Oh, and I failed to do this. Of course, I do things a little bit out of order if I forget. It's not like I'm playing a game online and doing things in order matters. It's a casual game. We're just testing the rules. So I forgot to roll a die to see if they can align Romania. So we're looking for a 1 here, and that's a fail. So Romania is still unaligned, and hopefully they can align it before they have to go to war, but they're going to prepare to go to war nonetheless. So for non-combat, infantry and artillery, you know, infantry over, cavalry over, everything they can get to this front line is going to the front line. This infantry is going to move over, infantry will move down, everything's coming down. Alright, so I think that's it. I don't think they want to move their ships yet. Actually, we'll go and move this sub 1, 2, and 3. So the Dardanelles, I think the Turkish Straits are called the Dardanelles. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong there. But submarines can pass through any strait, even if they don't have permission to. Submarines are the only ships that can do that. So that submarine is going to go ahead and start working its way out and is somewhere more useful, I suppose. Because why not? So we'll go ahead and place our units here. So we're going to place 3 infantry in Leningrad. So that's the maximum capacity there. And we're going to place an infantry and a tank in Moscow. And we're going to go ahead and place 1 infantry in Lviv. So then Russia is going to end their turn collecting 24 IPCs. Alright, so here's the Polish turn of round 2. They start with 8 IPCs. They're going to buy 2 infantry and a cavalry for that 8 IPCs. And so Poland is gearing up to join the war against the Germans. I can tell you that on Britain's turn, which is next, Britain is going to invite Poland to the Allies, and Poland will accept. So Poland is going to prepare now to be part of the Allies, since that's the plan. So they don't have any combat moves. Again, they're a republic, so they cannot be at war yet. But they're going to go ahead and prep, so their light tank will move to the front line. their artillery will start mobilizing out. Actually, we'll move the artillery up here, and then we'll just move these infantry over. That's how we'll do it. Alright, and then the cruiser is going to move up to Sea Zone 1. Now the reason I'm doing that is because, again, on Germany's next turn, we should be at war with them, because Britain will invite us to the Allies. So instead of having our cruiser in the German convoy that costs 2 on their turn, we'll have it in the convoy that costs 3. Just taking an extra buck from Germany, because why not? That is if that ship doesn't get destroyed. This German battleship didn't move on the German turn for a reason. That cruiser is probably not long for this world, but we'll see. And then, oh, actually I've made a mistake. Poland can only liberate 2 units, or not liberate, mobilize 2 units. So I wanted to do that so they could get more units instead of just doing this, but they'll build 2 artillery instead of that, so then they'll mobilize those. So I was thinking Poland could mobilize 3, but a factory can only mobilize an amount of units equal to the territory value, so they can only mobilize 2 artillery. There you go. And so they'll end their turn collecting those same $8. Alright, so now it's Britain's turn of round 2. They're starting with 33 bucks. They're going to spend it all on 4 infantry, 1 light cruiser, and a dive bomber. So all that goes to the bank. And in terms of combat moves here, we'll see if we got anything. I don't think we do. No, it doesn't look like we have any combat moves. So we'll skip right to non-combat moves. So the destroyer and cruiser here off of Gibraltar are going to go 1, and 2, and 3. The transport in Bordeaux is going to go 1 and pick up 2 infantry. And where do we want to take them? That's the question. Actually, we could technically have a combat here. So the transport... Oh, no, never mind. It doesn't have a naval port. Yeah, so we'll just take those 2 infantry and offload them in Dunkirk. And then the transport here in 18, we'll pick up a guy from Glasgow. Move down, pick up the other guy from London, drop those off in Dunkirk as well. And then the guy from Manchester will move down to London. And the AA again from Glasgow will move down to Manchester. And that'll do it for Britain. There's not a lot else they can do. So they'll be mobilizing 4 infantry in London, as well as a dive bomber. And then the light cruiser will go in Sea Zone 17, produced by the factory in Wales. So Great Britain is going to collect 12 IPCs. They get an additional 6 from the Dutch. The Dutch lost their capital, so they're a government in exile to Britain, so they get their money. And then they'll collect an additional 4 from World Tension. Great Britain collects money equal to the tension. That's one of their special rules. So that basically represents the people's willingness to fight and to get involved in European conflict. Right now, that level's at 4. So they'll collect 12, and then this together is 10, so 22. Then they'll collect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from convoys. So total of 29 for next round. Okay, so I forgot. Britain also has a special rule. They get 5 IPCs additionally, as long as they control Gibraltar. And this represents all the goods and trade that they're getting from their colonies, such as India and Egypt. So they get an additional $5, so they're ending the turn with $34, not 29. All right, so now it's France's turn, and they start with $15. So they're going to buy infantry, and more infantry. So yeah, that's their purchase. In terms of combat moves, they're not yet at war with Italy. Italy is staying out of the Axis until they're 100% ready to declare war on France. Right now, they're very much not. So France is just at war with Germany. Do we want to do any combat? No. We're just going to prepare for defense. So, preparing for defense, we'll go ahead and take this transport from Sea Zone 30. shuffle them down to 31, pick up the 2 infantry in Algiers, shuffle it back up to 30, drop those 2 guys off in Marseille. The 2 guys that were already in Marseille will go up to Lyon, and the guy who was already in Lyon will go to Paris. Alright, so then the guy from Oran will go to Algiers, as well as the guy from Tunisia will go to Algiers. The guy from Morocco will move to Oran. And 2 ships in C-Zone 23 will go ahead and move up to 17. And I think that's it. France literally can't do much, but at least they can do something in this game. So, something. That's something. Not a lot for now. So they'll mobilize 3 of the infantry in Paris, 1 in Marseille, and 1 again in the city in Algiers. Alright, so France will end their turn collecting 14 bucks. Correction again to another economy income. France collects an additional 2 IPCs from convoys, so they'll collect a total of 16 bucks. Alright, so now it's Italy's turn, and one thing I'm forgetting to do for a lot of these nations is roll diplomacy. Again, I'm going to do it now. This wouldn't be allowed in a competitive game, because if you forget to do something, you forget. So on Britain's turn, they're going to try to align Ireland. They're looking for a 1. They fail. Then they will try to align Portugal. They fail again. France would try to align Ireland. Okay, so they succeeded. France succeeded in aligning Ireland. So let's get a French roundel here. So that actually just makes them pro-allies, and I use white chip, or not a white chip, a green chip, sorry. A white chip with a roundel to show that it's aligned. No, it is a white chip. A green chip means it's being guaranteed by that nation. So Ireland is now aligned pro-allied, and then France would also try to align Switzerland, and that is a fail. So on Italy's turn, before they purchase units, they're going to try to align Austria first. And, oh, dude, Italy's been on a roll with the alignment rules. They aligned Yugoslavia already. So they're going to align Austria, so on their non-combat they can liberate that as well. And then the next one they will try to align. They could also guarantee a nation if they wanted to. Now we'll try to align. We'll try to align Hungary. And that is a fail. Alright, so then Italy will have 22 bucks to spend. They're spending 4 infantry and a light cruiser. So all of that will go to the bank. Italy will have no combat moves. Again, they're not ready to go to war yet. They're just preparing for now. So they'll go to non-combat. So this green chip under a fighter means that it's declared a scrambler. But I forgot I don't need to do that because it's automatically a scrambler. So the battleship will go ahead from 36. We'll go ahead and move 1, 2, 3 and join the fleet. Transport will go 1, 2 and bring over that infantry and mobile infantry. They'll go ahead and just offload in Rome. Okay, and then the infantry from Croatia will go into Austria and liberate that for the Italians. So they go up to 20 bucks, and Austria will get 5 bucks to spend on units. Alright, so Austria bought Italy an infantry and a cavalry there. So there's their 5 bucks worth of units, and then the mobile infantry will go 1, 2, and the infantry and cavalry from Bologna will move up to Turin there. So, placing units now. We're going to place 2 infantry in Bologna, 2 more infantry in Rome, and another light cruiser to join that fleet there. So that fleet is looking pretty sexy. So Italy is going to end their turn collecting 20 bucks from income and an additional 3 from convoys. Alright, so that's officially the end of round 2. We'll get into round 3 in a moment. I will say the Dutch will go after Italy, so they would have gone next. However, they have absolutely nothing to do other than just sit there and look pretty for now. So they can't collect money or anything. So we're going into round 3. So it's going from 1936. It is now 1937. And I'll take a moment here between rounds just to say that this is not the final version of the map. I've been editing and updating the map as we go along. So I just wanted to bring that up because you guys might notice things like Switzerland here is just doodled in. Some changes on the map have been handmade with marker. Like the C zone was supposed to be split in half. The convoys are handwritten. So the most updated version of the map, everything is digital. None of this hand-drawn crap is on there. And I also misspelled some things. I will admit to that. I misspelled Bologna on the original print of the map. I also accidentally typed Madrid too fast and typed Madrid. So, yeah, that's a typo that was also fixed. But yeah, this isn't the final version of the map. This is the testing version of the map. And I'm not worried about making it look as crisp as a franchise game until we're absolutely confident that the rules are where they need to be. Then I can stop working so much on developing the balance of the game and start working on making it look good so that, it'll actually draw the eye and more people will be interested in it, I suppose. All right, so without any further hesitation, let's get into round 3. All right, so we're at the top of round 3. Nationalist Spain is taking their turn. They have 9 IPCs to spend. They're spending it all on a transport and an infantry. All that goes to the bank. So transports in this version cost 6 IPCs. So that's interesting. It's a fun little thing. So they're more affordable. But we're going to go ahead and try to take Madrid back here. We're going to send everything that we can into there. And that's our only combat. So I'll roll this and I'll get back to you guys. All right. So one round of combat for Madrid. Nationalists won. They took out the 2 artillery. The Republicans managed to take out 1 nationalist infantry, but that did not stop them from taking it. So the nationalists will go up they're at 8, so they'll go up to 11, and the Republicans will go down to 3. And the nationalists will get all of the money from the Republican bank. So that's pretty much it. That spent for the Spanish Civil War. It's over. It's not actually over until all of these territories are captured, but Republican Spain has been eliminated. So, non-combat, National Spain is just going to move their stuff up because they can, for kicks and giggles. Move this destroyer over and move this cruiser up. 1, 2, 3. And then they're going to place their units. They're going to place an infantry. Actually, they'll place the infantry in Barcelona just because they can again. And they'll place the transport in C-Zone 27. So ending their turn, they're collecting $11. And then we'll skip to Germany. Alright, so we're skipping to Germany's turn. We're skipping the Republicans since they can't do anything. So Germany starts their turn with $29. They're spending it all. They're buying 2 tanks and a heavy bomber. And for combat, we're going to see if we can't try to take Paris. Now, you guys are going to see me processing everything here in terms of choosing what to do. I'm not really determining what each nation should do before I record, because I want you guys to see pretty much everything to see how the game develops. So, we're going to try to take Paris. What do they have? They have 5, 6, 7 infantry, a light tank, and a cavalry. So 5, 6, 7 infantry, that's 14 dice. Light tank is another 3, and a cavalry is 1. So they have a total of 18 dice. If I attacked them with just Stuff and Nancy and these 2 tanks, I'd have 4, 8, 12. Plus 6, 18, 20, 26. Trying to see if I can also take Dunkirk and Paris in the same turn. This is 26, so that's already 8 more than them. So, either way, we're going to send all this stuff in. Everything from Nancy into Paris. I'm just seeing what all I want to take in there to support that.
So this would be 8 dice. 2, 4, 6. We'll go ahead and slap my guys from Belgium into there. So the attack in Paris, I'll go ahead and support that with the bomber from Barcelona. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll have 2 left. And then the battle in Dunkirk, I'll send these 2 fighters into strafe. They'll have 4 left. Ah, boy, where do I want to use these tanks in this dive bomber? Alright, first off, I'll do this. The 2 subs are going to attack the Allied fleet there. We're going to try to sink some of those ships. Alright, I think I'm going to send 1 tank. No, I'm going to send both tanks to Dunkirk. And I'm going to send the dive bomber to Paris. So then one of these fighters that came from Belgium to Dunkirk will instead go to Paris. So both of those would have 3 movements left. Okay, so then, oh, can't forget about this bomber over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll have 3 left too. Alright, so I'll go ahead and roll these and we'll see the results in a moment. Alright, so combat is complete. Paris fell in 1 round of combat. The Germans lost 3 infantry and their mech, or their mobile infantry. They also took Dunkirk with 2 tanks left over. So we're going to capture both of those. And that's good for Germany because each of those has victory point values. So Germany just picked up 3 victory points this round. And they're also getting the $16 from the French bank. And France is now a government in exile in London. So we'll go ahead and land our stuff here. I realized I probably should have actually built an airbase to land some more of these planes in one spot. But these guys have 3 left, so the bomber will go 1, 2, 3, land in Munich, and the other 2 will land in Cologne. This bomber will land in Cologne, and this fighter will land in Belgium. Alright, and oh, I forgot to mention as well, the 2 subs in Season 17 got eradicated on the first round. So they're gone. Not coming back either. So we'll go ahead and place units. That's all we've got for now. We'll place 2 tanks in Cologne again. Actually, we'll place 2 tanks in Belgium, because Britain can land there. And then we'll go ahead and put our bomber in Cologne. Alright, so Germany's going to be ending their turn collecting 28 IPCs plus 5 from convoys. Alright, moving on to Russia's third turn. They start with $24, and they're going to spend it all on 4 infantry, a tank, and a mobile infantry. So all that goes to the bank. And I forgot German diplomacy last round. So they're going to try to align Czechoslovakia. That's a fail. And then they'll try to align Hungary. They get a bonus for this. And they still failed. Good job. Good job, Germany. So Russia is going to try to align Romania again. And take out a bunch of Polish stuff in the process. That's a fail. So then they'll try to align the Baltic states. Oh, that's a success. Wow, okay. Cool. So they will go ahead and align them. So they'll be able to march this infantry in there and gather that stuff this turn. But first we'll go to combat, sorry. Which I think we don't want to do, really. Yeah, I don't think we want to move in there yet. So we'll skip to non-combat, and the 3 infantry from Leningrad will move into Vyborg. Actually, we forgot to take Finland's turn at the end of the round. So they collected 3 IPCs on their turn, and they get to spend it all on an infantry. So there's that. Boom. Okay, cool. So now that that's fixed. More non-combat. Again, everything moving south. This guy will move into the Baltic states. Russia will pick up that $4 gladly. So that'll take him up to 28, right with the Germans. And Baltic states will go ahead and spend their money to build him some units. Alright, so Estonia gave him $20. They decided to spend it on 2 fighters in Estonia. And then Russia's going to continue to move all this stuff down to the Romanian front. And that looks like it's going to be everything for now. Again, oh, can't forget this sub. Going 1 and 2. Then we'll go ahead and place our units. 3 infantry in Leningrad, like so. And then we'll have an infantry going in Kiev and a mobile infantry and tank going in Russia. And Russia's going to collect 28 IPCs for the next turn. Alright, so here's Poland's turn. They start with $8. They're going to spend it all on 1 tank. And they're just going to continue to shuffle things up to the front lines. So these artillery are going to move over. And then the 2 they built previously will move up. And then they'll go ahead and slap that tank down in Warsaw and collect their $8 again. Okay, UK's turn. They're going to do their diplomacy first. It's the first phase of the turn. They would have rolled Ireland, but France went ahead and aligned that for them on the last turn. So they're going to see if they can't align Portugal instead. We're going to see if we can roll a 1 here. And we can't. And they'll try to align Sweden. And, oh my goodness, wow. That's a 1. Okay, so now Sweden is pro-allies as well, which means that the Dutch, in 2 turns, can liberate them, which is actually really fantastic for the Allies. That's super, super, super. Britain can do it this turn, actually. So, on to purchases, I guess, $33. They're spending it all. 4 infantry, 1 dive bomber, and 1 light cruiser. So there are no German ships in the North Sea or the English Channel now. Those subs that got sunk. Germany still has a battleship, and Britain doesn't really know if the Germans want to buy ships at this point, but they're not too worried about it. So we're just going to start shipping things around. We don't have any combats. Actually, yes, we do. We can do some air raids on the Germans, so why the heck not? So let's go ahead and see what we can get away with. 1, 2, 3. Oh boy. This is going to be risky. Do we want to do it? Yeah, let's go ahead and do it just to see. Just to see. So we'll send the 2 dive bombers 1, 2 to Dunkirk. We'll also send the strategic bomber over there. That allows this fighter in Belgium to scramble. But that's okay. We're probably going to take it out. We're going to see if we can't take out 2 of those German tanks, because we don't want all those tanks sticking around. So I'll go ahead and roll that, and then we'll get to non-combat. Alright, so the British were completely successful. They won the dogfight, taking out the German fighter, and then they got enough, they got exactly 2 hits with strategic bombing to take out those 2 tanks. So that was a complete success. So now into non-combat, all those planes will go ahead and land back in Britain. And now I don't know exactly what I want to do here, because I could either ship stuff over to France, I could ship stuff over to Holland, or I could go liberate Sweden. I really want to liberate Sweden, but I realize I can't get there because the battleship would block my transport from moving. So the quickest way to take it, I don't want the Dutch getting it because they can't spend money, so they can't build anything. So I will send something over there. So I'll go ahead and use a transport. I'll pick up 2 of my guys, 2 of my fellers from London, and I will go 1, 2, 3, because I'm using a naval port. I'll go ahead and land 2 infantry there in Oslo. Next turn, they can go ahead and liberate Sweden. And then I'll grab 1 guy and ship him up to Ireland and go ahead and liberate that, since it was pro-allied by our good neighbors and good friends, the French. So I'll go ahead and put the Irish build on. Okay, so this is simple enough. The Irish give them $10, so they'll just go ahead and build a light cruiser there. They go up $2 in production to 14. Moving other things around, the ships here will go ahead and join the fleet. Well, screening fleet of what it is, I suppose. And then that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and place units. Do I want to move these guys over? Yeah, this infantry and artillery are gonna move to Montpellier, and then we'll go ahead and place our units. So 4 infantry in London, as well as a dive bomber, and then we'll use the Wales factory to produce another light cruiser in Season 17. So we're getting a pretty sizable fleet there. And the British will be collecting $14 from their income, another 10 from the Dutch and tension, and then another 10 from France. So 10, 20, 30, $34 is what they'll have to spend on the next round, plus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from convoys. Okay, so the French are about to go, but I completely forgot, and this is a utter failure on my end. Britain should not have tried to align on their turn. They were supposed to invite Poland to the Allies this turn, and because of that, Poland cannot join the Allies this turn unless, well, actually, they just can't join the Allies this turn because France can't invite them. So what's going to happen here is on France's turn, we're going to do a cheeky little thing. France can't invite Poland. What they can do is guarantee Poland. So what this does if anyone declares war on Poland, then Poland will join the faction, basically. Or France will be called into the war, so the Allies will be called into the war. So Poland would basically, they wouldn't be in the Allies, but the Allies would be joining the war. So that has an equivalent effect. And then France will use their second diplomatic action to try to align Portugal. We'll see how this goes. And failure. Shocking. Alright, so what can France do here? What can we do? So they can try to hold on to this stuff for dear life, or I could ship 2 guys down to Algiers and make it as hard for Italy to take Algiers as possible. Only problem with that is Italy is going to have a lot of bombardment. Each of these, focus here please, each of these battleships get 4 dice, and each of these light cruisers get 2. So they'd have a total of 12 hits possible just from bombardment. So Algiers, probably just going to give up on Algiers. So yeah, I'll do this. I mean, they can bombard Marseille as well, but that's where our fleet's going to be, and that's more worth defending. So I'll come down, I'll pick up 2 more guys, and ship those up to Marseille. And then I will send 1 guy from Lyon down to Marseille, and I know this is out of order, but we'll go ahead and take Nancy for kicks and giggles. So I'll take the Germans down 1 to 27, and we'll go up to 11, even though we're not collecting money. So I'll also move this sub up, and that'll do it for France. Alright, so this is Italy's turn for round 3, and we'll start with diplomacy as usual. So they'll go ahead and try to align Czechoslovakia. That's complete failure, opposite of what you wanted. Now they could try to align Switzerland. What else could they do? What else can they do? Is there a chance that anyone that they want will go to war? Anyone that they want on their side will go to war. So they could guarantee Romania, so that if Russia did go to war with Romania, that they would join the Italians. Well, they would join the Axis, but Italy would be called in. Now, they don't want to be at war with Russia. That's completely stupid. I'm just trying to think of all the options that they have. So I suppose we'll try to align Hungary next. And that is another failure. All right. Well, they got $23 to spend. They're spending it all, buying three infantry, excuse me, and a heavy cruiser. And for combat, they will have none. And for non-combat, they will also have none. Actually, for non-combat, they're just going to relocate their entire fleet up one space. So that puts them on the front door of the French fleet, and the French fleet can now not outrun them. So that's good for them. But they're going to go ahead and build 3 infantry. They're in Rome. And they're... Whoa! Okay, yeah, that was smooth. Their heavy cruiser is going to join that fleet. Wow, that was incredibly smooth. So these green ships, I'm just using those to represent the special units in the game. There are 3 of them. There's heavy cruisers, light tanks, and one other, if I remember correctly. Oh no, transport planes, but we've opted to remove transport planes for the time being. So basically, I wanted to use green chips so that if anyone doesn't have like the yellow chips or the blue chips or the purple chips, then they don't have to use the special colors. I'm just using white and red chips for numbers, and the green chips represent the special unit. So this isn't 4 tanks, it's 1 light tank. So I just thought I'd note that to you guys. So if anyone sees this, that isn't 4 tanks, this isn't 4 cruisers. This is just a heavy cruiser, light tank. Same difference. Alright, so Italy is ending their turn, collecting 23 IPCs, just like last round. Alright, and end of the round recap. Oh, one thing. The Dutch are going to go ahead and move their stuff back to Oslo, since they are not really transporting. Yeah, that's it. End of the round recap. Germany is 3 points closer to their victory. They captured Dunkirk, Paris, and that's 3 points for them. So Germany, the Axis are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they need to get to, I believe it's 22 to win the game. So when the Italians join, they'll automatically get 4 more there. So that'll put them up to 13. When Spain joins, that's 4 more. That's 17. So theoretically, they only need to capture 4 more victory points. There's 2 here in France. There's 1 here in North Africa. And 1 of these bad boys. So we'll see what they can do if the Poles and the Allies can hold them back for long enough. But I think I'm going to have to upload what I've got so far in one video because my phone cannot handle the storage of recording the entire game and posting it all at once. So I'll go ahead and upload what I've got so far, and I'll see you guys in the next one.